a church reached out to us, and they were like, we have all these toys, and we don't have no young people at our church. We don't know how we're going to get these toys out. And it was literally 5 days before Christmas.
Mm.
And they're like, we want to give this to an organization who's going to get these toys out in a timely manner. We were like, yeah. So we went. I'm like, I got a truck. They're like, no, you're going to need a couple of cars. So, man, they loaded us up. All these toys. So we're like, man, how do we get them out? We ain't never did this before. So we just recorded and took pictures, and we just put it out, if anybody's in need, for some toys. And we had boxed them, separate them by different age groups or whatever. And, man, people just started sharing, and it went crazy. The one mistake that we made, we didn't say, locally. So we ended up having to ship some toys to Oklahoma.
Houston,
Oklahoma.
Man.
Arkansas.
Man, we shipped some toys. But
doing the Lord's work.
So we didn't have no truck, so people hitting us up from Frisco to Dallas to Arlington, Oak Cliff, Seagoville, Mesquite. So we in our vehicles, we just driving all these toys, get all these toys out. We get them all out.
Still working our full-time job.
Yeah, still working our full-time job, still doing mission. We get them all out. I think Christmas Eve, she was just like, look, if we continue at this trajectory, we're not going to make it. The fact we had did all this for all these kids, and then she stayed up, when we got home that Christmas Eve, she stayed up late, I think till like 2, 3 in the morning, wrapping gifts for our kids. And I just, hey, shoot, ministry done. I done did the Lord's work. I done got to bed. She said, if we continue at this trajectory, we're not going to make it.
Because he's so passionate about ministry, and I know it's what's next, and sometimes I feel like he's not present because that. And so I'll be like, well, come watch a movie with me and the kids or whatever, but I can look over at you and I can tell you're looking at the screen. It's going like you're still not present. And I had to let him know that. But you know what? That is the beautiful thing about communication. Like,
you can
like I could have just let that trajectory continue and the marriage end, or I can let you know, hey, we got kids here that I need to make sure they're good first before they see us taking care of everybody else's kids.
With me having to relearn, reprocess, rethink what sex was, that was like taking a part of my identity away.
Just because you may need to seek help or you may be in transition and things may not be right, it doesn't necessarily mean that your marriage is bad.
Marriage is a roller coaster ride that never ends.
From the twists of having children, to the turns of overly involved parents, or the highs of buying a new home, to the lows of unexpected lifestyle changes.
Marriage is dope, but let's be honest, fam. Marriage really be tiring.
Welcome to the Left Hand Gang podcast, hosted by Jazz and Spoon.
Yo, what's good, everybody? It is the Left Hand Gang.
What up?
See, you doing that whispering thing again.
You on my head today, bro.
Yeah,
Dang.
yes.
Dang.
Yes.
Is this good?
It'll do. Nah, but we thank y'all for tapping in with the Left Hand Gang. Thank y'all who've been getting hoodies. I know we say that like every episode, but
we really are.
But we really are appreciative of y'all who are out here getting these hoodies and everything, supporting the gang. And yeah, we love y'all. We're gonna go right into well, before I even say that, you got anything on your heart?
Nope.
That you gotta tell the people?
Nope.
You don't have nothing? You sure? The Lord ain't give you nothing? Ain't give you a word to prophetically speak?
I do have one thing.
See?
Ladies, if you need your brows done, if you want henna or if you want some ombre, Brows by Drea got me right. So that's on my heart to share. Brows by Drea on IG. She'll get you right.
Yeah, that's my sister-in-law. Hey, Dre. Hey, since we shouting out people, we also want to shout out our sponsor, Light with Purpose, for them fire candles. Make sure y'all hit their website, go get the candles, and use our promo code. It's LIGHT, L-I-G-H-T, gang. It's all one word.
And
go
they
get
really
yours.
are good candles.
Yeah, they good.
Like, when I pulled it out first of all, let me back up. It was in the box that they their little cute box, but that was in a shipping box. When I opened the shipping box, dog, I already smelled the candle. It was so strong, and even when it's not lit, you can still smell it. So my kitchen area still smelled good, even when I didn't light it. It lasts for a really long time. It's got this little crackle. What's it called?
I don't know. It's fancy. I ain't never seen a wick like that before.
It's fancy, and they smell wonderful.
Yeah,
so I definitely, we're not
like
just
a bamboo
promoting
wick
it
or something.
Huh?
Yeah, it said it looked like a bamboo wick or something.
It did, yeah. But we're not just promoting it just because they sponsored us. They really they legit.
Yeah.
We approve.
Yeah. Yeah, we approve. We approve. Did you get it out?
I did.
You did?
I did.
See, I knew you had something. So, man, today we got two of our favorite people on the entire planet. Man, yeah, two of our favorite people.
Yes.
They are entrepreneurs. They are pastors. They are parents. And they are 10 years married.
10 years.
10 years in this game. They're
I feel
double
like you
digit
gotta do
gang.
like a boop, 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 boop.
Yeah. Double digit gang.
Hey.
Man, so we would like for y'all to help us welcome the Ayindes, Famey, Hall of Fame, and Daphne.
Hey, that's
Man.
my high school name.
Man,
Not that man no more.
not that man no more.
We ain't gonna call you that then.
Yep, there he go. So we're happy to have y'all. We are so happy to have y'all.
We are happy to be here.
I hope so.
Definitely.
'Cause I hope so. Because I ain't know if we was going to make this happen because, Famey, he kind of spotty on the text.
Man, here you go.
I ain't know if we was going to make this happen. But you know what? We were supposed to get together before when you had your wisdom teeth taken out.
Oh,
Yep.
We were supposed to go out on a double
Oh,
date. I forgot
yeah.
about
So it
that.
wasn't me being spotty. It was Jazz.
Yeah, it was Jazz getting her teeth fixed.
Yeah, they had me down.
Yeah, she was down bad. Your sis,
Yeah, I was doing bad.
Sis was down bad. So, but nah, tell us about y'all. Tell everybody about
First,
y'all.
tell us about the Purpose Project, the shirt y'all repping.
Yeah, so the Purpose Project, I mean, it is a church now. Before, I didn't want the accountability
Pull the
responsibility
mic
that
up.
comes with a church. So I was calling it, a faith-based nonprofit organization.
Faith-based nonprofit
But it is a church, man. It is called the Purpose Project with a K.
I turned it.
And our whole goal, man, is just to help people discover their purpose and then walk in it.
Mhm.
And we think you do those by three simple things.
Yeah.
First, knowing God. If you know who God is, then you can know who you are. Once you
Mhm.
know who you are, you can know what your purpose is. So
Mhm.
that's our whole vision, is to walk in purpose or live trying.
Mm.
And we launched in Mesquite. What was that? 7/11/21.
Yeah.
I'm the 11.
Coming up on
11.
almost 2 years now. So it's
Wow.
really been a
Really?
blessing. Yeah, almost 2 years.
Yeah, this year.
And the way we started, honestly,
Wow.
when we first started, we thought, we want to be big on community service, worship service.
Mm-hmm.
We plan on really just doing worship service maybe 1 or 2 nights, a month, and then the rest will be community service. And,
Mm-hmm.
they say when you plan a church, you're supposed to, anywhere between 6 months and 2 years, get the plan in, man. We just literally a month and a half, go. Just dropped the flyer. I remember the flyer was playing, just had the logo and a
Oh,
date.
wow.
People are like, what is that?
Nobody knew what to expect.
Yeah.
But people showed up.
Yeah.
And people have continued to
Wow.
show up. And at first, people
Mhm.
started giving and tithing. And I was stopping people from giving. Like, no, this not a church. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This ain't nothing you can join. It's not a church. But I remember going home that night. God convicted me. Said, "You let it be whatever I needed to be for my people." So I remember
Yeah.
getting up Sunday and saying, "Purpose Project gonna be whatever God needs for His people. Whether that's the church, community service center, youth advocacy, whatever
Mhm.
God needs to be. That's what it is." So
Man.
that's what
That's
the
dope.
Purpose Project is. Project, the whole word project is just an assignment. That's what
Yeah.
it is.
Mm.
So assignments change, your purpose don't.
Yeah. And I
Mhm.
really love what it has developed into over this past 2 years. It's really just been like a safe place. Like, I
Mhm.
feel like even for me personally, I know people have told me it's like you just walk into a space where it doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter what you have on. It doesn't matter what season, what walk you're, where you're at in your spiritual walk. It's like, just come. Like, you can
Yeah.
come and be who you are. You don't have to meet a guideline or formality or anything. Just come. And
Yeah.
that's what I love about it. And I hope it continues to be that,
Yeah.
So,
That's always our prayer. God, keep us different.
yep.
I just want to stay different. Keep us different.
Man, that's a dangerous prayer, right?
It's very dangerous. And I found out. I definitely have found out.
Yeah.
Keep me different, all right, so it's good, though. It's all good.
So who got the call to ministry first?
Definitely.
I think I got the call to ministry first.
Okay.
Yeah, like I didn't want the call. Don't get me wrong. I don't think when it comes to ministry, I don't think anybody wants the call.
Mhm.
I think you get the call and it's like, okay, keep getting the call. Answer. Don't stay on the phone long. You know what I'm saying? Put it on mute. Put it down.
Yep.
But God, you just keeps calling. So I think I got the call first.
Daphne, what was that like for you? Was it something y'all saw coming?
Definitely. I had knew before he had even said it. Yeah, like God had showed me that. Honestly, if we could be honest, like when we first even met,
Mhm.
like, and I mean like from the very beginning, this was our conversation.
Really?
Ministry. Like we knew, like, hey, I'm out here living like I'm living right now, and I'm doing what I'm doing now.
I'm out here.
But I know. But like we knew, and it's so strange. So it's funny to see all of it, like what we're living right now, you know. But I think just in the aspect when he transitioned into that role, it was kind of like I knew, so it wasn't hard to like just jump on board.
That's dope.
So how did y'all even meet?
Man, so hey, so
Which time?
The smile.
We
they
met
got two
twice.
times
I mean,
with us. They got,
I
y'all
didn't
got
know
two
it was
stories?
multiple times.
got-
I don't
we got
know.
two
Okay.
stories.
We'll start with the
Okay.
first one and go to the second.
Hey,
Yeah.
social media is a fool. You know what I'm saying? I love social media. So the
Yeah.
first time, you know, she went to high school with my cousin.
Okay.
So my cousin was on Facebook and I was over her shoulder and I
At
seen
this
her.
time, we're in college.
Yeah, we're in college. So I
Okay.
had seen her picture, you know what I'm saying? So I slid in the DM.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we ended up meeting up, but at the time I had a girlfriend. She didn't know.
Mm.
You know, I had a girlfriend.
Oh, so you was out here
Yeah.
cutting
grimy.
Hey, don't judge me. Don't judge me.
Hey,
Just love me. Just love me. Don't judge me. Just love me.
Hey,
But
this
no,
part of the assignment.
no.
It's the
Comes
purpose.
full
It's the
circle, comes
project.
full
It's the
circle.
project. It's the
But
project.
no, I had a girlfriend, but I went trying to do my thing, how in there talking to her. Like she said earlier, we talked about ministry. We asked the question, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
Mm.
And it was crazy because we started talking about, hey, man, I see myself doing this, see myself being a church, see myself being a leader. And I ain't living nothing like that. Like, I'm talking about
Clearly, he has a
far,
girlfriend at this
far
point.
from it.
While we met up and just hanging out talking about.
So it came
Bruh.
up, though. It ended up coming up because, you know, at least I had a girlfriend, but I was honest, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Ended up telling her, you know, I had a girlfriend. She shut it completely down. She was like,
I would never talk to a guy like you.
yeah, that's pretty
That's
much
exactly
what she
what I
said. I
told
would
him.
never talk to a guy like you.
Understandable.
And
I mean-
at that time, you know what I'm saying, I was proud for, so shoot, I'm good. I got a girl anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't need you. And literally that I left. And that was our first time meeting.
Okay.
It was literally our first time
That's
meeting.
funny.
Now if we come back to the second time, by then, you know, my girlfriend broke up with me. She left you, boy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because clearly he didn't have a good track
I
record.
was heartbroken. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Now, I really was heartbroken because of some fact. I had never been broken up with. I ain't had that many. I think I had 3. The first one was like in the 5th grade. Really don't count that.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
I was like, do we roll that in?
and then yeah, do roll that. And then the other one I broke up with.
Yeah.
So when she
Okay.
broke up with me, like I was hurt. So it was probably like 2-3 years later. I think I had I moved to Houston. I was living in Houston. I was on Facebook. And I seen she had just made a post said she had just
At
got
this point, you were already, he had like got saved. He was in church.
yeah.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
Okay.
You had graduated, you said, right?
Yeah.
I did. I
Okay.
had graduated or whatever. I had graduated, moved to Houston, was living with my sister down in Houston.
Out the streets.
Yeah.
Yeah, out the street.
Yeah, saved, you know what I'm saying? You know, I had jumped on Facebook and she had made a post said that she had just got saved. And it was right before New Year's.
Mm-hmm.
And I laughed because her cousin was underneath the post. Does this mean we can't go to the club tonight? So I looked and I was going to jump in the DM, but you know, she's a beautiful woman. I ain't going to lie. I knew a lot of dudes in there. So I'm like, man, you know, she might not see my message. So at that time on Facebook, it was a phone number on there. And I'm like, man, surely she ain't,
I remember
you know,
that.
crazy enough to have a phone number on here. So
I remember that.
shoot, I text the number and she replied back and I told her who it was. She like, how you get my number? I'm like, off Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
She removed it immediately. Man, and we started talking. You know, I was just, you know, telling her congratulations on getting saved, you know, just encouraging her, whatever. And from that day, I think it was that night on, like every night, we started talking like 4 or 5 hours at a time, just every night
Wow.
for like 2-3 months.
Yeah.
Cake.
Straight.
And I remember it was one thing because he was like, you know, since he had been saved and he had met a couple girls in Houston and he was like, but these girls would be like they're a Christian and they're saved. And he was like, but I'm looking at their lifestyle and it wasn't lining up. And he was like, and I remember I was talking to you one night and you were like, yeah, so I had told him, I was like, I went into the closet to pray. Do you remember this?
Yeah, yeah,
I was like,
I
I
remember that.
went into the closet to pray and I cut the lights off and I was just waiting on it to happen. I was like, nothing happened. I was just sitting there. He was like, that's when I knew this girl was for real. She really tried.
She was waiting for the Holy Ghost to take
I was
over.
like, I was waiting on something, you know, like a magic to
Waiting
happen.
on the shift. The
A move of
atmosphere,
God.
a move of God.
My daughter, I am here.
He said, no, she for real.
Nah, she was for real, man. But honestly, I was scared to she was staying in Dallas. I was staying in Houston, so I didn't know I had never did the long distance thing. And then I didn't want to mess it up, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I'm like, look, I had cheated on my last girlfriend, and I was telling my sister, like, I don't even want to, I don't know. I just don't know. Long distance, it's just a lot of factors going on, but I'm happy I took that leap. My sister was like, boy, I got you. I'm like, all right. And I never forget, I asked you out. over the phone. I hadn't seen her in 2-3 years.
Yeah.
You know, that's scary because, pictures
yeah.
deceiving on
Yeah.
Facebook. Social media.
Yeah, especially now.
That was like right before catfishing really
Exactly.
started
People
to
using
take
old
off.
pics 5 years ago, still
Yeah.
keeping pics. So it was a risk, because before that's how I knew she was different. I was always kind of vain, like, okay, the girl look good. Now if she got a personality, that's better. But I fell in love with her personality just talking over the phone. Had never seen her, and I asked her out over the phone. I think my sister was having a wedding, and she had never been on a plane. She got on a plane, flew to Houston. I remember it was weird. I picked her up from the airport, and
But it was
That was y'all's
awkward.
first time? Like,
yeah, seeing each other. But now we're going together though.
Yeah.
And we remember we kind of gave that little side church hug. It's weird. It's my girlfriend,
Oh,
but I don't really
man.
know you. I ain't really
Yeah.
seen
Y'all
you
ain't
like
like
Yeah.
kissed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we literally just talked over the phone.
Wow.
FaceTime wasn't popping like that back then. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
But then Southwest are having those little $45 want to get away.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Want to get away.
Hitting them every month.
I started catching the Greyhound up here to Dallas,
Man.
Oh, the
It was
Greyhound.
The Greyhound. I
Oh.
was catching the Greyhound up in Dallas, man. And we've been
Wow.
rocking
Yeah.
pretty much ever since.
Wow.
So how long did y'all date before y'all got married?
It was 2 years?
Yep.
2 years
He
Man.
proposed after a year.
and a half. Don't try to make it seem like I was quick.
Uh-uh.
A year and a half.
Boy.
Okay.
Gotta add that half.
That half
That
matters.
Now, 2
Wow.
years total. She probably right. A year.
Mhm.
I think it was a year. Well, I must really be in love. Yeah. That's crazy. It was a year. though.
Wow.
It was a
I
year.
think what's really cool is like how y'all were talking about ministry, and from my understanding, like y'all are not PKs, y'all are not like, you know what I mean? Like you mentioned, I think off camera, I don't think you told them you weren't like raised in the church all your life.
Hated
So for
church.
you, huh?
Hated it with a passion.
That's why
What
So
he has no
for
church
you to
ethics.
say,
you trying to say?
so that just means you're not bound by tradition.
And
Yeah.
I'm telling you, make it that balance sometimes.
Huh.
Sometimes
I
you
got
do
some
need
formality.
some of
So
them.
it make
You need some formality.
Lord keep me different makes more sense now.
Yeah, yeah.
I made a
Yeah.
connection there.
yeah.
I don't like the way y'all tag teaming. We're going to continue this conversation, though. But no, you're
I
right.
just think that's so interesting. It just shows like God's will is gonna be done. You know what I mean? If we just say yes and
Oh,
we're
yeah.
just obedient. Like you didn't know what you were talking about. You didn't know that Purpose Project was like what you were gonna do. You didn't know that's what you were
No.
signing up for, but y'all were like,
No.
yeah, I'm gonna do ministry.
Yeah, literally, that's what we're like laying
Yeah.
there talking about ministry
Wow.
Didn't even know what ministry was, probably.
Right.
at all. Like,
And y'all have some little people that y'all take care of that y'all haven't mentioned.
yes.
There's a
Tell
reason
us
we
about
ain't mention them. We're getting a break
Yeah,
from the
we're
kids.
hiding from them.
You
No.
said I did- Hello.
I let her talk
Purposely
about
ain't
what we
say
do.
nothing.
Yeah, we have 3 children. A 16-year-old, a 16-year-old daughter, a 8-year-old son, and then a 3-year-old who's about to be 4.
Man.
And they keep us busy.
I bet.
Real
So
busy.
the gaps,
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's what I was about to.
especially 8 and 16.
Yeah.
Like, how do y'all flip between being parents of a 16-year-old versus being parents of like a 3-year-old and an 8-year-old? Because like
Yeah, those
that's
are
a
different.
dynamic like that y'all just I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to even
Yeah,
ask
because
that
we
question.
real early in the parent.
Yeah, you
but I
know.
know as a teacher, like those are 3 different
Different.
areas. Yeah.
Completely different.
And I
Yeah.
tell you, the belt works wonders.
Man.
For
Amen.
all age disciplines, it does not discriminate. No, I'm
Amen.
just playing.
He probably can tell you the last time they even got a whooping. But so it is true. It's very true that you say that though, because I remember like when I would be in school and you would learn like the different like, you know, from toddler to preschool to school
Mhm,
age to
mhm.
adolescence. And I was like, man, I have one in every group. Like
Man.
and you would literally check off these things like, okay, yeah, they're in that independent, you can't help them stage. Yep, that's her.
Mhm.
It's like you can check off, but you do have to meet them. But I think that's just like with anybody in life. You kind of meet them where they are, you know?
Mhm.
So just, it's different. The way I discipline one is completely different from the way I discipline another. So
Yeah, y'all pray for me. It is tough, especially with the 16-year-old, man. She talking to boys now, man.
Oh.
Ooh.
My mind just still can't wrap around it. You know what I'm
Because you
saying?
used to be a 16-year-old boy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I
And you
know,
know.
you know what I'm saying? I know. So me and her have a very open, great relationship. But when it comes to boys and stuff like that, I always, man, talk to your mama. Because my mind just can't even process.
Yeah.
So y'all
Yeah,
pray for
he
me.
has a hard time
Like,
with
that.
it's like, for real, like I really have a hard time. So
Mm.
know it's going to happen, but I'm just not there.
Yeah. Mhm. I'm just like putting myself there. I'm like,
I never
man.
thought of it from that perspective.
Oh yeah.
So like, yeah, I'm like, oh,
Yeah, I know what I was doing at 16.
Mm-hmm.
And I know what them boys, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Not having my daughter. No.
Yep. Let's
Yeah.
go. Shifting the conversation.
Yeah.
So before y'all started Purpose Project, I know that you were doing ministry beforehand. And so switching between, I guess what was your ministerial church word journey like prior to Purpose Project?
Prior to Purpose Project. So in my former church, I was the youth pastor there.
Okay.
So and that was different. It was weird. And the way I even got into ministry, becoming a minister, I remember sitting there, in the congregation, and we used to bring in some young speakers. I thought, man, that was so dope. See young dudes in their 20s, young women in their 20s. I'm like, man, we need that in-house. Like, that's why I was like, we need that in-house. And I remember guys speaking to me like, you the man. I'm like, nah, not me. Like, we need it in-house, but we need somebody else. But I had that, that revelation, that thought maybe a year prior to finally I approached my pastor one day. Hey, I feel this is what God is calling me to do or whatever. He gave me some steps to take, this whole journey, some books to read, come back and meet with him, and then start the process of becoming a minister. And then I end up eventually becoming a youth pastor there. And that was different. I think that's a great start, though. You dealing with youth, you know what I'm saying, who are all over the place, all kind of things going on. And the funny thing, interesting thing about youth is I could say something that the parents had been telling them for years, but it would click. They would get it.
Yep.
And they were like, I've been telling this boy this for years. I've been telling them for years. And sometimes it just helps coming from a person on the outside looking in rather than hearing it, directly from your parent, because I didn't listen to my parents growing up, I'm gonna be honest with you. And in hindsight's 2020, now that I'm older, I'm like, man, mama was right, man. Daddy was right. They was really trying to tell me. So sometimes it takes a person from the outside looking in. But so I started off as a youth pastor. That's my journey, and I was preaching every fourth Sunday, in what people call the big church. I was in the youth pastors group, and it was always funny because they say, I'm looking for advice. I'm preaching in the big church today. I'm like, big church? I thought it was all just the church. You know what I'm saying? It was no distinction. So I preached every fourth Sunday, and then I was over the youth.
Yeah. So how did that feel for you, Daphne? Him saying, you know what, I'm finna go ahead and preach.
When he started doing every fourth Sunday,
yeah.
I think we were pretty much heavily involved at that point, right?
When I first started preaching?
Yeah.
I was in mime. I think you was doing praise dance and maybe teaching
so we've been serving. I think
toddlers.
So we've been serving quite a bit. So that wasn't a hard transition for me. Actually, I really think that a lot of who we are today, especially like in ministry, was birthed in those roles.
Yeah.
A servant.
Learned a lot.
Yeah, for where we are right now at the Purpose Project. Because I did a lot of behind the scenes stuff there. And so a lot of that carried over to the Purpose Project, like that I feel like I wouldn't have known how to do or even like to operate and things like that. So I think a lot of who we are today was birthed there. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it definitely was birthed there. I think, like you said, a lot of behind the scenes, and then towards the end we had started a second service for the youth, so that gave us a format of how this thing really goes. You know what I'm saying? So I think, definitely, it was definitely birthed there.
Man. And so, like, what propelled y'all to launch out?
Honestly, man, I wanted to be involved in the community heavily. I honestly, we didn't know what Purpose Project was going to be. I had the name Purpose Project when I was at the other church's youth pastor. So the youth already had a name. So I told Daphne, I said, I got this name, but I'm thinking it's going to be maybe for like a youth conference or something. So I had the name like a year and a half before we even launched, just a name.
Wow.
Didn't know what it was going to be. Could have been a podcast, whatever, just had a name, the Purpose Project or whatever. So I told Daphne, like, I want to be involved in the community. You know what I'm saying? I just feel like church and community should be one and the same. That's just really what I believe. I don't like, the photo ops where, you come out, twice a year at Christmas, give away toys, or you give away the turkey at Thanksgiving. I feel like it should be literally one in the same. And I feel like church is beyond the four walls. Like, it's ministry, it's purpose everywhere you go. You know what I'm saying? So that was my main thing. That's why I thought originally wasn't going to be a church, just, hey, we're going to be a faith-based nonprofit organization. Had enough common sense to know that, hey, no, we got to be faith-based because that's just how we rock.
Right.
Faith-based nonprofit organization that was going to do community service. That's literally what I thought Purpose Project was going to be. Like, hey, we just don't do community service. We just, get volunteers, whatever is good, that's what we're going to support. Whatever lines up with our vision, that's what we're gonna support,
Mm-hmm.
And I always tell people the name Purpose Project. When I Googled it, I'm like, yeah, I got some exclusive. It's 100 Purpose Projects that pull up. Like literally, it's hundreds Purpose Project podcasts. They got education centers, learning centers, all this stuff. So I'm mad at God. Like, man, I thought you gave me some exclusive. You know what I'm saying?
Dog, you got me out
And then
here.
I was telling people, I started to name, okay, the Purpose Project. I'm gonna name it TP2. But that's when the whole R. Kelly thing had went down. I'm like, nah, that's not really a good look or whatever. So I was kind of frustrated. And then it's like God gave it to me. Like, no, I gave you that name for a reason. Purpose Project with a K, not a C. And I went back down. I'm like, Purpose Project with a K, not a C. It was like, because when you can't see it, you got to know it. The no stands for my people perish for the lack of knowledge. So the no, the K stands for no. So that's why it's the Purpose Project with the K. Once I got that name, I told Daphne, man, I got it. You know what I'm saying? So we really still was going, community service, and we just going to do worship service once a month. That was still the initial plan. So from that point, when we knew we was going to launch or whatever, we just started taking steps, getting all the paperwork in order. I wanted all the trademarks. I told her, I want to be legit. I just don't want to be out here just doing something.
Yep. Come on.
Every day we just started getting stuff in order, getting stuff in order. Things lined up. And again, 7-Eleven, I think we started doing that at the end of May. And we launched July 11th. Just, again, put that flyer out there. Didn't know what was going to come of it. And people came, man. And the most important thing was God's presence was there before us. And we've been rocking ever since.
Yeah, I remember.
We
were there.
Y'all were there.
Yeah, because
and can you talk about what happened?
You was on your little
right
scooter.
before your launch. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, man. So it's crazy. The day that we dropped the flyer, the same night I went and tore my Achilles. Tore my Achilles. I was in a high school summer league. Had no business out there with the youngsters. First of all, I wanted to say, hey, not too much now. Shout out to my boy Terry Riley. He's assistant principal at Horn. I was over there because he told me, they want to do something different with their summer league program. They want a message at the end of it. Can you come do the message? I'm like, yeah, man, do the message. And then all of a sudden he asked him, what's my jersey number? Shoot, man, give me that 5. You know what I'm saying? Give me that 5. He's like, I hadn't played basketball in 2 years, like hadn't touched the ball.
Oh,
man.
So I'm out there stretching or whatever. And,
you tight.
Yeah, real tight.
Real tight.
And I kept thinking, no lie, I was like, man, I feel like I'm probably going to tear my ACL or something. I was just telling my brother, like, I'm stretching all the time. I had made it through about 6 games, but I just felt like my knees. And I had literally posted the day of, hey, man, y'all pray for my knees. And I probably should have covered my whole leg. Ended up tearing my Achilles or whatever.
Knees were good.
And it was funny because
knees were solid.
I came down and toured, and my wife was in the stands. Everybody knows she's a nurse practitioner. So when I toured, I couldn't walk. So they were calling her from stands like, come on, hey, he hurt. And she taking her time. Like, she looking like he ain't hurt.
Well, because he had missed it, like airball the shot, and I was
Oh,
like,
you thought it was pride?
Yeah, it was like one of them.
His
So I'm
feelings was
like,
hurt.
He alright, y'all.
I ain't gonna lie, I was more hurt about the airball than
so
the
you
torn Achilles.
airballed, and when you came down,
When I landed, it felt like somebody.
Ooh.
I literally thought somebody came off the bleachers and kicked me because there was some kids in the bleachers. But when I turned around and didn't see nobody, I knew. I knew it was gone.
Yep.
It was what KD had, and everybody when that little look back, man.
Yep.
That was that. So it was crazy because again, we're about to launch, and the whole vision is to walk in purpose and live trying. And I'm sitting there telling God, I can't walk. Like I'm trying to find a speaker for I done put out this flyer. I'm like, God, now I'm trying to find a speaker, somebody to come in and speak because I can't walk. And God finally tells me, like, you say the vision is walking purpose and live trying. So when you gonna do the live trying part? Whew. And when I got that, and I got that scooter.
My God.
Yeah. I got that scooter, man, and hey, we preaching on it. We doing this thing. Don't matter what. Like, hey, I'm a rolling purpose today.
Yeah, I'm rolling it.
I'm a rolling purpose today. So yeah.
That was very powerful.
That's how we started. Those first couple of months, I was on that scooter. And I think it's helped people to see like the whole transition from the scooter to the cast to the boot. And when I finally got to put on a shoe, man, it was like the best feeling ever.
Man.
Our 1 year anniversary, that's why I really cried because I just reflected back like the small things you take for granted. Like I can wear a shoe, I can walk.
Man.
There's so much in that.
Yeah.
I don't even think we need to go into
No. I'm going
But, oh my goodness.
Because I start preaching. I'm stirred over here.
Right. I just need to sit for a moment. Like there's so much revelation in that. There's so much imagery. Oh, we're not going into it. Okay. Minister Lorian, did the Lord give you?
I'm trying to be cool.
I'm trying to come at her.
I'm trying to be cool.
I'm trying to figure out where you at because I'm finna move on.
I'm just
Go ahead.
Go. Just go.
I done lost my train of thought. Okay, so you now are ministering too, Daphne. What has that been like?
So actually, I first preached at our previous church.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know
So I
that.
started
So you're just a
there.
secret preacher.
Yeah. So I'm one of, when you say, how was it? Who
You're
got
the
the call
CIA.
first? And who, so for me, honestly, I
Hey,
would
Daph,
probably
can you pull your mic up to
yes.
you?
Honestly, I would say for
There you
me,
go.
when it comes to preaching, it was one of those things, like, I did not mind serving. Like, I was all about being behind the scene, right?
Yeah.
Like getting it all together, running it, making sure everything is flowing and everybody else is good. But when it was like, okay, now I want you on the platform, and I was like, but I don't want to do that. Like, because I felt like, even though God blessed me with all these other talents to be able to, work the media and, just make sure everybody else is good, like, that didn't require much of me, like, and so when it came to preaching, it took me out of my comfort zone, and it really, if I can be completely honest with you guys, it is a journey for us. He knows that he has to ask me a couple months in ahead, and I have to tell him no a couple. I tell him no a couple, right? I tell him no a couple times, and then he'll come back the next week and ask again. And so it's funny because I just texted him yesterday. I said, I was so afraid to like just commit to like preaching and saying, okay, I'm going to do this. And I said, but it's the last couple of times that I preach because I'm preparing to preach for Mother's Day. Aww. And so I was telling him, I said, it's funny because this area that I wanted to avoid and that I was afraid of and that was intimidating, I said, but now I realize that there's a different level of intimacy that you get with God in this space, And I said, and that feeling is just like, you just can't even explain it,
Yeah.
And although it's still not, I'm never going to be like, hey, sign me up next.
Right.
I ain't there.
I got next Sunday.
Right. But I'm in a better place of when, okay, let me know. I'll prepare. When you want me, I'll go up.
Yeah.
Type. And if I'm honest with myself, my goal and my thing for 2023 going in was whatever I need to do to get the gospel out, I want to do that.
Wow.
Like I want it out.
Y'all just got bold declarations out here.
Yeah.
Y'all declarations is scary.
No,
for real.
Woo. What is it, Lord? Keep me different.
Keep me different.
Keep me different. And Lord, whatever I got to do to get the gospel out.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it.
I
was
what you say? What do you say?
I mean, you need to preach every Sunday.
He said
You say whatever it takes to get this gospel out. I'm just saying, repeating what you said.
Yeah. And it's hard because you got to remind yourself. I told him, I was praying last week. I'm like, God, I know I'd be complaining and I'd be saying that this is inconvenience and I don't want to do it, but just overlook it. I'm going to do this time anyways. I'm just going to complain a little bit, but I'm going to do it.
I'm going to do it. Wow.
But yeah.
That's beautiful. And y'all do not just do ministry. I don't think y'all told us about like the fact that not only are you parents, you're a married couple, you are pastors, but y'all have full-time jobs.
Yeah, they degreed up.
Yes.
Full-time jobs.
What do y'all do?
Which is tough. I am a physical therapist assistant.
Okay.
And I'm a nurse practitioner.
So we both in the medical field.
Yeah.
But we don't like having medical conversations at the table.
Really?
Don't want to talk about that all day, every day.
That's fair.
But we do though. So when she says certain terms, we just get it. And we have to realize that when we go around other people and we using some of them big fancy medical terms
like
okay,
phalanges.
Yeah.
Right.
Not the phalanges. Metacarpals and
Metacarpals.
We have to
but it helps. Even, and I think too, like when it comes to marriage and ministry, I feel like when you're on that, I guess that equally yoked type thing that that they like to say. But even when it came to us both being in the medical field, like he can come home and start telling me about a patient, whatever, and I can relate. It's hard. Like,
hey, wait. We do not break HIPAA violations.
Right.
Just throw that out there.
Confidentiality.
Yeah.
Right. So, but yeah, it just helps when I feel like you're, because I remember there would be times when like we were at our previous church and either like maybe myself or him, we were at the church like all night and I'm not at home or he's not at home calling like, what's taking you so long? Like, it's because we understand, versus we would be up there with other people and their spouses are calling like, what time y'all coming home? What time is rehearsal over? But I think both of us doing it together, like, hey, it may not be you tonight, but it's, we understood. And I think that has helped us have a good balance when it comes to ministry too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I also think it's very interesting. You tore your Achilles and you're a physical therapist assistant. And your wife's a nurse practitioner. Wow. The Lord is funny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
okay, he's
definitely.
funny.
And did not do my therapy. So,
they say that doctors and like medical professionals make the worst.
They're worse.
They are definitely
and I
the
can
worst
understand
patients.
that. Because they say teachers are the worst students, and we are. We really, really are.
Mhm.
We skipping through like, okay, show me the easiest way, and we're talking all the way through it. Like, yeah, I can understand
Get
that.
together.
So, what has been? I guess it's a twofold question. What has been the help me out, baby? Like the best thing about doing ministry together as a married couple?
You're like,
I
what's
don't know the word I'm looking for.
what's the most like rewarding thing
rewarding? And
that
then
y'all have experienced as
on
a
the
married
flip,
couple?
what has been the hardest?
I'll take the hardest. I'm gonna let her answer the best
Okay.
because I'm different. Now,
I mean, y'all both may have two different answers
Yeah,
for both.
Let's see what you say.
nah, I'm gonna let you start first though.
What?
I'm gonna let you go first though.
I would say the best thing about it, I feel like our marriage is like this. Like, it's funny. I was just telling him. So we took a trip for our 10-year anniversary.
Yeah, y'all was
Yeah,
cute.
cute.
I know. It was.
I was
pretty-
looking at
I was a little depressed when I came back because I was just like,
Very
take me back.
depressed.
Like, no joke. Like, he had to
Oh,
snap me
man.
out of it. But but it was so fun over there. But I was telling him, I was like, you know how for some reason I have this like thought in my head when you hear that somebody's been married, oh, they've been married for like 45 years. And I was like, and there was like sometimes a sad like cringe in me like, but what all did they go through? And you know, because
Yeah.
you see so much as we grew
Yeah.
up with our parents and, you know, just different people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I genuinely feel like our relationship, what we show is what it is. And I told him, I was like, I just had to say a prayer while we were there. I'm like, I hope it stays that way. You know, there's no front like, oh, this is all, you know,
Yeah.
it really is like, this is really the person that I'm with. This is the person that I hang out with. Like,
Yeah.
it just is what it is. So I would say for me, I feel like ministry has given us that, you know, like because we know that he is the glue that holds us together. So I feel like because we strive after him, the glue gets tighter and tighter. You know what I'm saying? And I really feel like that. Like sometimes I can feel because I would probably say more of a like tougher skin and
She a
Femi is
pit bull with it.
no, I have
Pit
feelings. He
bull,
acts like
lying.
I don't, but I do. But he's more of he wears his heart on his shoulder. You know, things will get to him and he'll carry it. And sometimes I can just look at him like, let's say if we're both in a conversation with somebody and they say something that I know is going to weigh heavy, I can just look and see it on them, and I'll just be like, "You're good," like you know, like I feel,
being
you know, what
in
I'm saying because
sync.
you can
Yeah.
feel. I'm like, "You're good," and I have to cover him in prayer in that aspect because I know that about him,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But I feel like because of this walk and because of you know that glue, our Jesus, like
Yeah.
we're here, and I think that is probably the best thing about ministry.
No, that is the best thing. To
like
piggyback
that.
off what she
Yeah.
said, I think that is a rewarding thing, the fact that we both have a relationship with Christ.
Mhm.
I think about people talk about all the time, you know, they want a woman, a guy, want a woman. I'm like Spoon said, hey, be careful what you ask for. Because when we get into it, our heated discussions or we have disagreements, I know she's going to him. So what I have learned to do, I'm going to him first.
Yeah.
I got you know.
I love that.
I run to him first.
God, you know.
Now you know. Hey, let me get my side out there first, God, because I know she's going to come to
Wow.
you. But it's a
That's
blessing in that.
powerful.
Yeah.
It's a blessing there because I know she's going to go to God before she goes to
Her homegirl.
her homegirls. And girl, I would have been done left him
Right.
or this,
Yeah.
that, and the third,
Right.
or whatever they might
Right.
possibly say. But I know she's going to go to God first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Might still go to the homegirls. I don't know if she do it not. But I know she's going to go to God first. And because
Yeah.
I know that, you know, I trust God. And I know God still has my best interest at heart.
Right.
Whether he convicts me, hey, fam, you know, you're wrong, you need to apologize, whatever. I know that we're both going to somebody who's neutral, if
That's
so to
beautiful.
speak, if that makes sense.
Mhm. Did they share like the heart? They shared two really great, beautiful
know.
things.
My bad.
I don't even
y'all
want to ask
good.
y'all. It's okay. Don't even worry
Right.
about that one.
Now, we can talk
Um,
about that challenging one, though.
Yeah.
Because it's funny because the challenging for me came right after we was with y'all. I think
What you
that
mean?
look at Spoon. Was
When? What
that?
we
Was that
do?
last year? For me, I think it was last year, not this past year. So the year before in 2021.
Yeah.
21 or 22?
So what happened was we went out and we had sent some volunteers. We helped y'all with the toy
Oh,
drive.
the giveaway.
What's it called?
The giveaway, Christmas
Giveaway.
giveaway.
Yeah, the Christmas giveaway, man, and we had a great time. Y'all keep doing that, but we had did the Christmas giveaway. So when we came back, a church reached out to us, and they were like, "We have all these toys, and we don't have no young people at our church. We don't know how we're gonna get these toys out." And it was literally 5 days before Christmas,
Mm.
and they're like, "We want to give this to an organization who's going to get these toys out in a timely manner, who is not going to keep the toys, who's not just going to put them in a storage." She was like, "I got your number. They told me about your organization. Are y'all able to do it?" We were like, "Yeah." So we went. I'm like, you know, I got a truck. They're like, "No, you're going to need a couple of cars." So, man, they loaded us up. All these toys, all
Man.
these toys. So we're like, man, how do we get them out? We ain't never did this before. So we took all the toys on the house and we put them all on the living room table. They was all on the kitchen and social media. You know, we just recorded and took pictures and we just put it out, you know, if anybody's in need, you know, for some toys. And we had boxed them, separated them by different age groups or whatever. And, man, people just started sharing and it went crazy. The one mistake that we made, we didn't say, you know, locally. So we ended up having to ship some toys to Oklahoma. We
Houston,
Oklahoma.
Man.
Arkansas.
Man, we shipped some toys. But
doing the Lord's work.
So we didn't have no truck, so people hitting us up from Frisco to Dallas to Arlington, Oak Cliff, Seagoville, Mesquite. So we in our vehicles, you know, we just driving all these toys, get all these toys out. We get them all out.
Still working our full-time job.
Yeah, still working our full-time job, still doing mission. We get them all out. I think Christmas Eve was literally still on Christmas Eve. We finished the last shipment. We get home and shoot, I go to bed. But when I woke up that next morning, I realized that the gifts I had bought our own kids, mine wasn't wrapped. You know what I'm saying? Mine wasn't wrapped. So I'm like, okay. So now, you know, she usually wrapped the gifts. You know, she got good wrap. So I'm like, okay, I'm stapling stuff, you know, got tape everywhere. And whatever. I can tell it was off. I could tell she had like an attitude. It was kind of cold. I'm like, okay, man, I don't know what the problem is. So Christmas goes by, and I think it was the next day after Christmas, she was just like, look, I hate to say this. And I'm like, you know, she was like, matter of fact, I'm not going to say it. I'm like, you know, I'm like, no, say it. You done said it now. You know what I'm saying? Because I want to know. And she was like, if we continue at this trajectory, we're not going to make it. The fact we had did all this for all these kids, and then she stayed up, when we got home that Christmas Eve, she stayed up late, I think till like 2, 3 in the morning, wrapping gifts for our kids. And I just, hey, shoot, ministry done. I did the Lord's work. I done got in the bed. She said, if we continue at this trajectory, we're not going to make it.
Man.
And that crushed me.
Ooh.
Wow. That really crushed me. You know what I'm saying? I don't think nobody wants to get a divorce or anything like that. Like that right there, it hurt. But I needed to hear it.
Yeah.
Because when it came to ministry, and I'm very aware of this now, but it was no balance for me. It's like, hey, we all in, we all in.
Yeah.
0 to 100, we don't go. It was not no balance. Like, hey, I'm doing ministry. Can't you see, woman? I'm doing the Lord's work.
Yeah.
But I had to realize that marriage is my first ministry. At the end, my family is my first ministry. That ministry has to be taken care of. So after that, you know, as a result, my kids' gifts, they was wrapped in the summer, July. Just for ready to go.
Ready.
You hear me? Ready. You know what I'm saying? Don't care if you done outgrew the clothes or the shoes. This is what you getting for Christmas. But that was the most challenging, and that still remains a challenge, just to have balance. She'll tell me before we went on our 2-year anniversary.
That was going to be my heart. Can I tell my heart?
Okay.
Can I tell my heart?
My
No,
bad.
mine is quick. That was basically what I was going to say. The heart for me, I would say, is because he's so passionate about ministry. And I know it's like he said earlier, I think before we were on camera, he was basically just saying, I'm always thinking, what's next, you know? And sometimes I feel like he's not present because that. And so I'll be like, well, come watch a movie with me and the kids or whatever, but I can look over at you and I can tell you're looking at the
Your
screen.
wheels are turning.
It's going. Like, you're still not present. So I made it very
That's
clear.
me.
I was like, before we went on our vacation, I was like, I need you to be present. Like, I don't need you to think about anything with ministry. I don't need you to think about work. I don't need you to think about the kids. I need you to be present when we go on this trip.
Man.
And I had to let him know that. But you know what? That is the beautiful thing about communication. Like,
you can
like
say
I
that.
could have just let that trajectory continue and the marriage end, or I can let you know, hey, we got kids here that I need to make sure they're good first before they see us taking care of everybody else's kids.
Yeah.
So those are that's why I said communication is key.
Yeah. I really love that you kept it, like you said, if we continue on this trajectory, we're not going to make it. You didn't just yell at him for going to sleep. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like you were on his head about this one thing. You took the whole picture. And I think as women, sometimes we mean to do that, but we'll like focus on the one little thing that he did and we don't like bring it to, you know, like make it understanding where it's like the big picture, because they're big picture people. We're detailed. And I really like that. And I think that that speaks to your maturity too, because it was like, no, I'm thinking about the family. You know what I mean? I'm not just mad at you for what you did. I'm thinking about long term. I'm thinking about our children. Yeah.
And like with that, that really speaks to the work that y'all put in with y'all's marriage for y'all to be even be able to have that conversation. To be like, hey, look, XYZ or ABC. Like, this is what's finna happen if you continue. And like, for Famey, for you to not be offended,
Right.
be like, well, can't you see I'm doing the Lord's work and I'm doing this and blah, blah,
Get
blah.
on board. You know,
Yeah.
like,
because like, that could have taken it into a completely different direction that you had absolutely no intentions for.
yeah.
Yeah.
You were just trying to make him aware of like, yo, I love what you're doing. It's good. However, you have an obligation to us here at the house. And so I guess I really just want to celebrate y'all for the work that y'all put in for y'all to be able to have the mature conversation. And even though it hurt, it was a reality check. And it was received well.
Yeah.
And because a lot of people wouldn't even have the heart posture to receive what Daphne had to say. I'd have been like, man, bro, watch out. Bro.
Right.
I think he's probably learned that from me throughout I'm pretty
Definitely.
very like
She's straightforward.
Direct.
Yeah, straight shooter.
and I think he knows it because I always told him because a lot of people say that about me, but I can genuinely say that it is never my intentions to hurt someone.
Yeah.
So when I say something, I never, because like sometimes he'll be like, I was mad at you and you didn't even know. And I'm like, well, I didn't intend to hurt you. So why would I know you were mad at me?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I was just like, hey, this is what it is.
Yeah.
But it was not to hurt you. It was just like, this is what it is.
Yeah.
But I think that has just been our relationship.
Yeah. Straight shooting. You get shot enough times, you learn.
You learn.
You learn real quick.
Move.
So something that came up for me, I don't even remember what you said, Daphne, but this is kind of to both of y'all. If you don't mind sharing your marriage now, what have you brought in, or I don't know, that's not really what I want to ask. Like, how has your childhood and like your parents, whether they were together or not, how did that shape your current marriage and how you came in and how you raise your children? And essentially what I'm getting at is, for me and Lorian, we came from two different backgrounds. He came from both parents. They're still married, love each other, and it's beautiful. My parents were separated before I was even born. My dad was like, yeah, I'm not ready. And so I grew up with a single mom. Then my mom got married and then they divorced. And so my view of marriage was completely different from his, and how we love each other, like, is different. The way our outlook, like, I sometimes have a scarcity mindset, you know what I mean? Like, just from things that I experienced in childhood and how we've had to learn to compromise and, just blend that together. Do y'all mind talking about that?
Yeah, I don't mind talking about it. So what I brought in, my parents are divorced as well. They were together 24, 25 years. But the thing about it is, because you hear 20 years, you hear 25 years, like, that's good. But somebody mentioned it earlier, like, but what have they all been through?
Yeah.
And I can remember, like, at a young age, my mom saying, hey, my brother, he's the youngest. Hey, so what's your brother? Go off to college. I'm out. Mama, man, mama, stop playing. Mama just talking.
Yeah.
Brother went off to college. Mama was gone.
Mm.
So at that point, I'm like, dang, like, I came from a 2-parent household. But I always tell people it felt like I grew up in a single. I relate more to people who grew up in a single parent household. My dad Nigerian, not knocking Nigerian, but my dad was strict. You know what I'm saying? He was business. Like, he ain't doing all that talking, about with the birds and the bees and mama trying to have a sex talk. Daddy was, how them grades looking?
Yeah.
That's it. You know what I'm saying? He come home, like, he wanted to be by himself. We were all mama's boys. We were just mama's kids in general, because I got a sister too. So I relate more to people. It was like, I asked my mom one time, like, growing up, did daddy ever, she was like, he was the provider. He felt like if he worked, that's all he needed to do. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I'm providing. My mom was the one changing diapers, and we got 3 kids now. So I always ask my mom, I don't know how you did it.
Yeah.
Because she's the one changing all the diapers. You know what I'm saying? She's the one that worked nights. So she could be with us, because they couldn't afford daycare, during the day. She did all these things. So for me coming into marriage, I feel like I had this view. It wasn't distorted, but it was realistic. Like, man, this is a possibility. And then before we got married, I was living with my sister in Houston, who ended up marrying my brother-in-law. So I stayed with them at least for 5-6 months. So I could hear different conversations in my room, like, okay, it's not fairy tale. You know what I'm saying? Like, marriage is real. You know what I'm saying? It's some challenges, some obstacles here. So that's pretty much how I came into marriage. It's a beautiful thing, but also understanding that, hey, it's a whole lot of dynamics that go into being married.
Yeah, I would say for me, I probably seen like grew up in a broken home too as well, and then like a lot of the other family members like aunts and grandmas, and that was pretty much the standard.
Yeah.
So really my
same.
mindset was I wanted to grow up, I wanted to have a good job and make good money and have a little girl.
Same. I
Never
think
wanted
I
a
said that
husband.
I said
like,
that on the podcast once. That was my vision.
like that I seen what it was with me, and
Right.
it wasn't good, so I was okay. I wanted a little girl,
yeah.
and it was just gonna be us, and that was my desire.
And I think the reason why I brought that up is because y'all are an example of we don't have to be what our parents were.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like whether you grew up with a 2-parent household and it was great or you didn't, we still get to shape that. And like you said, marriage requires work.
Yeah.
Like it's not a fairy tale. And so
Yeah.
if you want to do it, you do it,
Yeah.
you know? And y'all are literally y'all are a blessing. Like y'all's walk is a testimony.
Man, I
I mean,
appreciate
I
that.
said that off camera. Like not only do y'all made it 10 years, that's a big deal. Like for our culture, that is a huge deal, you know? And it's not just y'all have kids
Yeah.
and ministry and y'all work. Like, and it's not like, oh, like you said, it's not just like, oh, we do these things and in front of everybody, everything's great. And when we go home, our house is a mess. We don't talk or
Yeah.
no, y'all actually are an example of what beautiful marriage looks like. And so I just wanted to share with people because I think sometimes we think if I didn't come from it, the view that I have, it has to stay that way.
Yeah.
And I thank God that he delivered you, and I thank God that he delivered me because literally that was my vision.
Yes.
Like and I was content with that.
Yes.
And because I can count, not using all my fingers on one hand, the number of marriages in my family. Like, so I was like, that's not normal. You know, like I don't have to be married and it ain't gonna work anyway. Cause
Right.
you know, clearly I come from a line of people where it doesn't. So I just wanted to share that. Or wanted y'all to share that.
That's good stuff.
Appreciate
What's
that.
coming up for you, baby?
10 years. It's a long time.
Yeah.
It is, but it ain't. It ain't, but it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it really, it is. And like, y'all have been y'all are happily married.
Yes.
Y'all actually like each other.
You actually hang out with each
Like,
other.
Yeah, I
y'all
tell people
hang
sometimes,
out
like-
and do stuff.
Honestly, I'm gonna tell y'all this. I don't even know if I want this online, but no, I'm joking.
Nah, don't cut nothing. If it's
So,
good, not bad. Cut
I had
it.
literally just told him last week because of that mindset, you know, just me, the little girl, you know,
Yeah.
I've still always kind of had that like, hey, I love my husband, I love my, you know, but I'm like, I would be good, okay by myself, which I feel like you should
Yeah.
be content
Yeah.
Shame
by
on you.
yourself.
Mm.
But I told him, I was like, man, we literally do everything together. Like we go to the gym, like this is my friend. Like
Yes.
we eat
yes.
dinner together, we go to the gym together,
my
we do
dog.
ministry, like other than work, everything else we do
Yeah.
together. And so I was telling him, I said, so what happened? One day, I think maybe a Friday, we didn't get up. Normally we go to the gym pretty early in the morning, like we get up at 4. We didn't get up, so he went off to work, and I was like, well, let me just go. And so as I was getting there, I felt like a little anxious, and I told him, I was like, I think I'm developing social anxiety without you, and because I thought back, and I was
It's a
like,
good
there was
feeling to have
another
as a
time.
man.
Whatever. There was another time where he worked on a Sunday, and so some of us that had went to a church together, we went out to eat afterwards, and I felt that same feeling, and he wasn't
Yes,
there, and I'm
when
like,
your
I'm
friend's
so
not
used to
there.
him being there.
Where's my friend?
Yes. I
Where's
feel
my
lost.
friend?
Like,
Which
I
is
don't even
so
wanna be
weird because
here.
that's not even in my character. So I was telling him, I'm like, I
mm,
think I'm developing social anxiety without you.
Mm.
that's beautiful.
But
That
yeah.
made you feel good.
I mean, you know, I'm
Yeah.
smiling like a chess cat. Made me
Yeah.
feel great
Great.
to hear that. Especially, I told you, she pit bull. She lying, so to hear the softer side, you know what I'm saying? What they saying? Is it soft season, what they got going on now? You know, hear
I
the,
don't know.
what is it, soft life? Hear that side, it make me feel good. That make any man feel good.
Yeah, it do.
Oh, you miss me,
Like,
baby?
you
You,
miss-
want your boy? You know.
You want your
I
boy?
mean, you know, we all want to feel, and we like to feel missed or wanted or
Yeah.
desired.
Yeah.
So ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So how have y'all changed over the course of these last 10 years? Just individually, like what changes have you seen within yourselves?
So I'm trying to get better at, man, I used to have a real big issue of constantly worrying about what people think. Constantly, like all the time, like not even making certain moves that I feel led by God to do because you know, what these people gonna say though, what they gonna think. And not that I'm fully even delivered, I still struggle with it, but I've gotten better at it.
Yeah.
And she's helped me a lot because I told you her mentality, like, man, I ain't gonna say she say forget them people. Like
Yeah.
we about to, if God's calling, this is what we about to do.
Yeah.
But over the years, I've seen me getting better. Some people might call it developing thicker skin. So that's one thing I can honestly say over our 10 years, marriage, ministry, I'm getting better. Not even worried, being too concerned about what people think.
I would say for me, I think I've just grown in the perspective. Like I think I'm slower to speak now versus like just being so quick to
Yeah,
I
she used to pop off.
yeah. Like, I think I let things process and just kind of weigh out the
I felt that.
weigh out the
Quick in that
the
man's
whole
spirit.
look at the
Yeah.
whole 360, and I think that helps. And that's every area with the kids, when it comes to marriage, at work, just in general. Just don't be so quick to even to form an opinion, even if you're not saying anything. You know, sometimes we just that one thing is like,
Yeah.
okay, we already know.
Yeah.
But no, just okay, I can see. Just looking at that other perspective, I think has helped a lot.
Love that. Love that. So this is to both of you to answer individually. What is like your biggest piece of advice that you would give to a married couple at any stage?
Communicate.
Agree.
That man, communication.
Effective.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
effective,
yeah.
effective.
Emphasis on
See,
the
anybody
effective.
can talk.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
the thing.
Yeah.
But
At the wrong time.
you're right.
in the
To
wrong
be able
place.
to effectively communicate,
Effective.
that is the biggest thing. I was just
Yeah.
having a conversation with my homeboy. You have to, Spoon brought it, even if it hurts, you have to continue
Yes.
to communicate.
Mhm.
You got to continue to communicate. You have to keep that open line of communication.
Yeah.
Because once one person shuts down and that communication no longer open, and you trying to guess what they feeling and think and do all that Miss Cleo type stuff, it's going down the wrong
And
trajectory.
you do that early in marriage. Like
do.
you
Yeah.
do that. You do
You
that silent
compensate
treatment.
and-
You do
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Just shutting down like that.
Expecting them to read your mind.
And the other
Yes.
person does.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like they do chase after you. And then
Mhm.
I remember when you stopped doing that, I was like, wait,
You don't care no more.
hello, I'm
Like-
upset. I don't want to talk about it, but like come ask me questions. And I remember I was like, I can't believe I actually got to go to him.
Yeah.
And he said it too. And I was like,
Look at them.
Yeah.
I was big mad about
Yeah.
that. Yeah. You're right. You do that.
Hey, I'm going to ask you this actually. We were talking one day about it. It was a phrase. You said y'all went to a conference. It was like you want them to like
outserve? Is it that one? No.
the conference. It was something about like basically you reading the person's mind. Like you should know what I want, but why should he automatically know what I want?
Yeah,
What
I know
was
what
the
you're talking about.
phrase?
I don't know what the
It
phrase
was
was. I know
it
exactly
was
what
like
you're
spot
talking
on because I was thinking like
Mhm.
it was good though because I was giving her an example. I was like when we first got married, like I was young. I didn't like flowers. I'm like, flowers just die. Why would you buy
Yeah.
flowers? And I'm like, now I love flowers at my
Same.
table. Like, and so the thing is, if I would never communicate that to him, his thought is she don't like flowers.
Right.
Mhm.
Stop by
But
them
then
a long
I'm
time
looking,
ago.
then I can be sitting there looking crazy, like he don't never buy flowers.
And I'm hurt because you ain't bought me no
But
flowers.
in his head, he's still, so why would he? But that's why communication is key.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
yeah,
half the time we don't know what we want. So how can you expect somebody else to know what you
that's
want?
real.
That is an unrealistic expectation.
Man,
That's the truth.
that will preach.
Appreciate
Because
that.
we really don't.
We
Right.
don't. And
We
it
really
changes.
Yes.
And we expect other people to find out for us, to do the work
Right.
for us.
Yeah.
So if you do it, I don't have to shame myself or feel
Mhm.
bad about it because I don't know. But if you know, I can place blame on somebody
Right.
Yeah.
for
That's
not
good.
knowing,
Mhm.
even though I know I don't know.
Right.
I know I don't know.
Yep.
And a lot of
good.
times, sometimes we don't even know that we don't know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right.
We just know what we want and we expect somebody else to
Figure
fulfill
out.
it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's a whole nother conversation.
Dog.
That's good.
Dog,
That's real good.
'cause I had to live it.
Sorry.
I ain't
Guilty.
pointing no fingers.
I'm guilty. I'm on that one.
Thank God for deliverance.
No,
Yes,
for real.
Lord.
For real.
Yes, Lord.
And humility.
Yeah.
Because
Oh,
I
that's
think
good.
that's something that I learned in marriage. It's a constant breaking and a constant, like, I forgot what you said, Fami, but like even when it like doesn't feel good and you don't want to,
Mhm.
have you ever had that moment like with even with your spouse, like I know I need to talk to you about this, but me doing so means I let my guard down and
Yeah.
I'm vulnerable
Yep.
Yes.
and I
Mhm.
want to feel, I want to be mad, I want to sit in this
Mhm.
emotion, and I really, it's like duh, like
Mhm.
it requires a breaking.
Yeah.
Like you literally have to like beat your flesh into submission, like
Mhm.
Paul says, and say what you
Yeah.
need to say for the betterment of your marriage,
Yeah.
for the betterment of the house.
Yes.
Because when you have kids, you know, everybody's affected.
Everybody.
Mhm.
And I don't think that we talk about that part enough.
Mhm.
Because in relationships, when you're not married, you can just brush it off, or you can do the silent treatment
Or
and-
leave.
or
Yeah.
leave.
Yeah.
And you can't do that in marriage.
Right.
At least you shouldn't.
Yeah.
Right.
People doing it nowadays.
Yeah.
It's the norm.
People be out. Yeah.
Man, you got anything else?
I don't. Oh,
Did you go through all your questions?
I think so. Well, I do have one more. It just didn't come up, but I just thought about it. Y'all's biggest testimony as a married couple, if you feel like sharing,
Biggest testimony as a married couple.
or greatest testimony. I
Or
don't want to say
greatest
biggest.
testimony. I think it's the testimony that's still been written.
Amen.
I really feel like that's our biggest testimony. We talked
Amen.
about it earlier. Our whole thing with the
Right.
Still being
and
written.
it goes back to our ministry. I think it's
Yeah.
just kind of all in one. Our whole thing with the project is to redefine the word project. You know, when people think of the project, they think of a hood or rundown area.
Right.
And I always tell them, now we want to be a place where we're not the hood projects, we're the good project. We want to be an area that's running over. So I also know how I really am aware of how important it is to see a black marriage, a young black marriage. You know what I'm saying? A successful black marriage, a happily marriage, you know, with kids,
Yeah.
you know, careers, you know, having degrees. That's not everything. But I always said I never want to be the person to tell my kids, you can do anything and everything you want, or you can be anything you want to be. And they point to me, why didn't you do it? So I want to be living proof that this evidence that this is possible. So I feel like this testimony is still being written. I feel like God is using us to redefine a whole lot of things. We were doing community service where we took a group of youth out and we were doing community service, picking up trash and all this stuff. And we was out there with officers, and he said a car rolled by and they rolled down the windows and asked, are they with the juvenile detention center?
Wow.
That's the reason that. And I didn't even get mad. I told them that's our assignment to redefine, because they see a group of young black people out here with life, with vest on, you know what I'm saying, thinking, it must be, they got to do this for juvenile community. No, we're just out here because we want to. So it's all about redefining. That's, I feel like, what God has called us to do, redefine a lot of things, redefine what church looks like, redefining a whole lot. So I feel like that's our biggest testimony, that it's literally still being written and that we're still serving as evidence that people can look and see.
Wow.
Love that. That was the best answer.
I'll be like family.
I would be like, baby, like that was the best.
Be like, be better than me.
That was the best.
That was a good answer.
If you want to hear more of Fami's great mic drop moments, where can they find the Purpose Project, and how can they follow y'all? And
man, you can follow us on social media, Facebook and Instagram, Purpose Project with a K. You can also visit the website, keep up with everything we got going. That's purposeproject.com. Purposeproject.com. We got merch. We got our services, community service outreach. Everything we're pretty much doing is on our website.
And y'all are located in Mesquite. You mind dropping that address? And
we are located in Mesquite. Drop the address. Probably I told these people the wrong one.
214 West Davis Street.
Thank you. See, that's why it's good. See, that's why it's good to have a help meet. That's
right.
why
I was just about to say that your help came.
And we do our worship service every second and fourth Sunday.
Okay.
Every second and fourth Sunday, either at 2 p.m. or 6 p.m. It varies. But every second and fourth Sunday, you can find us there at the Corner Theater in Mesquite.
Man. Yeah.
We love them, y'all. And I hope y'all
Man,
love them.
y'all
Now
too.
y'all
Yeah,
see
we
why
love
we
y'all.
love them.
This is two of my favorite people.
Yes. Yes.
Two of my favorite
we look
people.
up to y'all.
We do. Yeah. June 25th. It's on.
Hey,
Yeah.
June 25th.
Yeah. I'm excited.
Boone LaRyan is making his preaching debut at the Project. It's been a long time coming. Honestly, it really has.
I don't know
So I'm
what
excited.
I don't know what we're gonna talk about. We may not even talk. We may pray.
Hey,
Hey, let's go.
prayer changes.
It do.
Let them lead you.
Man, I'm excited for it. I'm excited. I'm so happy y'all came and hung out with us, man.
Yeah.
Man,
We
I'm
about
so
to break
happy.
bread. I'm excited.
Hey,
Get to chat some more.
Yeah. You don't need spicy turkey melts.
Everybody got spicy.
Yeah.
That's
Everybody.
funny.
Everybody except me, but yeah, everybody got spicy turkey melt.
man want to be different.
Yeah, Lord, keep me different.
That's the prayer.
Lord, keep me different. Oh man. Well, again, we love y'all. We thank y'all so much.
Yes.
And before we close out, we just want to pray. Cover y'all in prayer and ask that the Lord just continue to bless y'all. So God, we thank you for Fami and Daphne. We thank you for their hearts and their call to ministry, not just within a service on Sundays, but their service the other 6 days of the week to others while they're at their jobs, when they're at home with their children, and within their marriage to one another. We just ask that you continue to allow them to be a light, to be a beam of love, compassion, of just taking care of others who may not even have the means to be able to take care of themselves, but continue to bless the work of their hands and continue to strengthen the glue between them, keeping them together. And we come against anything that has an assignment to come against this assignment. Anything that has been purposed to separate them, to put them against each other, we bind it right now with the blood of Jesus, and we cover them. And we ask God that you strengthen them, you refill them, refuel them, and revive them as they take the next step to doing what you've called for them to do, wearing different shoes. In your son Jesus' name that we pray. Amen. We thank y'all for hanging out with the gang. Make sure that y'all keep up with the Purpose Project. We're gonna have all of their stuff, their links and stuff down in the description and whatnot, for ways that you can partner with them, be it financially, giving, sewing, and because
or get your volunteer hours.
To go get your volunteer hours, because they can sign off on those. I think I'm speaking by faith.
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Okay, so it definitely said yes.
So be a man of God.
Yeah. And just keep up with them and follow what they do. They're doing a good work. They're doing God's work. So until next week, we love y'all. Y'all be easy. Peace. Thank y'all so much for tapping in with the Left Hand Gang podcast.
Be sure to follow, like, subscribe, and rate us.
And lastly, please don't forget to check out our website. That's lefthandgang.co for merch and ways to stay connected.
Catch you next episode.
Gang.